Visions of Greatness is more than a show. It's a journey into the minds and moments that redefine what's possible. I'm Ira Joe Fisher, and this is Visions of Greatness.
Hey, BK, how goes it today?
It goes fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. You know why? Because we have an amazingly interesting guest today.
Tell me all about
Her name, oh, you heard about her. Huh? Okay, well, her name is Nina DiGregorio. She is the lead from a group called the Femmes of Rock. Now, what are they all about? They play electric violins with rock music in the background. They play music from Rush and every group you could think of in 80s, 90s type groups. And they put on such a hot show that they sell out everywhere they go. In fact, I'm going to see them tonight.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Can I be can it be a plus one or something? She's amazing. I was checking out some of her videos, and she's just wow. I don't know how she does it on an electric violin, but like you're saying, like she's played with so many people. Like I'll just list off a few here because I can't, I just can't read them all. But her most recent, she's playing with Tony Braxton, but she's played with Deep Purple, Cheap Trick, Wayne Newton, Johnny Mathis, Smokey Robinson, the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, Donna Summer, Regis Philbin.
Oh my God.
You see,
I never knew Regis played an instrument.
I didn't either. I guess there's just so many things to talk about. So should we get into it?
Yeah, I was just going to say though that I met her when she was receiving an award from my alma mater and her alma mater, the University at Buffalo. She was named the youngest successful alumni, and she received the youngest alumni award that has ever been given out at that school. And when I met her, I said, wow, this woman is something else. She's got and what did she tell us? I think on a phone conversation that she was also studying and human anatomy and all things like that. So very diverse human being.
So great. And we had such a wonderful conversation. Let's take a listen now as we present
Nina DiGregorio.
Gregorio.
Say that 3 times.
Nina, welcome. It's great to meet you and to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
And it sounds like Don, you guys have sort of a background, or you know each other?
Yeah, we have what is called the UB connection. For those who don't know what UB is, it's the great University at Buffalo. I had the privilege of watching Nina receive the youngest person to ever receive the Alumnus of the Year. What was the title of it? Alumnus of the Year?
I think it was called Distinguished Alumni Award. I felt like an imposter, though, because I was next to like nuclear physicists and people who actually did something, and I'm just a lowly musician. So,
well, don't say that, because our show, Visions of Greatness, encompasses all specialties, all backgrounds. And I didn't have a second to thought about asking you to be on the show. I think you definitely qualify.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, it's like so I was watching, so Nina, I was just checking out some of your videos and doing some research, and oh my gosh, I mean, I'm a musician myself, so I was a little fanboyed out. But particularly the first thing and we'll show a clip of this, I stumbled upon was you playing Eruption, which is a Van Halen song, if you don't know it, on the violin, which it blew my mind. I mean, like, if anyone hasn't seen this, it's so cool. And rocking the bass. I didn't know you played bass too. You got the Rickenbacker 4001 there, and
there it is, right there.
Oh yeah, there. What a collection. Well, our first question, we kind of go right down the list. It's what we do, and one of the first questions we have is, what if you could switch places with anybody, who would it be and why?
Well, I don't know that I would switch places with a different person, but maybe for a day with my younger self, I would switch places. little bit of advice, things I learned after some years of experience that I wouldn't have made the same mistakes the first time. But also maybe a little bit of the Back to the Future thing where I could have like whispered who's going to win the next bunch of Super Bowls and then got myself to the place where I'd be set up like Biff, only I wouldn't be mean like Biff. So I would say, yeah, my younger self, maybe for a day.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that, and I think it's interesting because you can really like it's a perspective of your life, and really it's really actually one of the most common answers.
You have been interviewed before. What's the one question you wish someone would have asked you but never did?
Hmm, that's interesting. Um, I think that people don't often ask me about the things that I deal with specifically as a female musician. I think that those are important things that a lot of people in my position deal with on a daily, if not an hourly basis when you're on social media. That's how you kind of launch your music career now. It's not going and playing gigs out in public, it's putting your music online. That's really how it is. And I think we deal with a lot of things that people would never say the same comments to a very similar situation of a male musician as they do to a female. And I have to feel this crap every single hour of every single day. And I deal with it differently than some other people deal with it. For me, I kind of try and use like humor and wit to like, you know, put these people on blast a little bit. It's the Buffalo in me, I guess, the Buffalo Italian in me. But I think people don't often ask about those things and how they differ from if I was just like a musician of the same quality and caliber, but I was male, dealing with those things.
Well, let's why don't we go into that? Because that's we had recently had Susan Waldman on, who was the an announcer for the Yankees for years and years, and her breaking into a male dominated for industry for so many years. She just the stories she told were it was awful. So I'm curious. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that? Because that would be interesting to hear.
Well, there are a lot of common denominators. It's usually the same type of person that will leave these comments to me or send me these messages. And they always revolve around the same couple things. The first is kind of like a devaluing of my experience. Obviously, I've been playing the violin since I was 9 years old for many decades. I have a master's degree in classical violin. I own 15 different electric violins ranging from 4 strings to 7 strings. I'm the one that actually learned how to play the 7 string violin and recorded Eruption on it. And people will come on to my videos and they'll be like, well, that's actually just a chin guitar. That's not really a violin. Violins don't have 7 strings. Violins can't have frets. And I'm like, why do you know more about the instrument I spent my whole life learning how to play than I do? And this is a very common theme. Like, they'll have no musical experience, but they want to argue with me about what the instrument is that I'm playing. I'm like, listen, if I were a dude, would you be telling me that I didn't know what instrument I know how to play since I was 9? Like, I feel like they just need to like have to tell they don't like trust my expertise on the instrument. So that's one of the things that I deal with quite often is like men with no musical experience trying to tell me what the instrument is called, why it's not a violin. I'm like, well, you give this to a guitar player, they can't play it. You give it to a violin player, they can play it. This is a violin, it's just got extra strings on it. Like just like a bass can have 5 or 6 strings, it's no different. So I deal with like the mechanical aspect of that. I also deal with the you can never win no matter what you look like aspect of it. So I made a choice when I started covering my videos to wear t-shirts and jeans in all of my videos because I didn't want people to ever say after, like I said, after a master's degree, after decades of practicing, after learning techniques like finger tapping on a violin that like almost nobody can do, I didn't want it to take away from that and people to be like, oh, she's dressing too sexy, and that's the only reason people are watching her videos. So this is literally how I dress in my videos, except for Eruption, because a costume designer made me a custom Eddie Van Halen outfit
Yes.
for that one. But in all of my other videos, I record them from home and I'm wearing t-shirts and jeans, and that's what I do. So I will get the comments that I either look homeless or I'm dressing like a grandma
You can't win.
Yeah. So like that's what happens if I wear t-shirts and jeans. If I wear something that's more form fitting, I'm just showing off my assets for views. If I the other thing that happens all the time is people telling me to smile more in my videos. Like so I'll be playing Time like by the David Gilmour solo.
Yep.
Like one of the saddest songs ever written. So and then people will be like,
Why aren't you smiling?
you need to smile more in your videos. Like you always look so angry. I'm like, are you going to tell David Gilmour to smile more when he plays this solo? Like it's the saddest song ever written. What's wrong with you? And then in the songs, like let's say I'm playing Devil Went Down to Georgia and it's a happier song. So I am smiling in the video.
Yeah.
People are like, you're smiling too much and you're being too animated. Just play the music. Like you just can't win. And I don't think men have to deal with the micro aggressions towards everything about the way they look, smile, act, when they're playing their instrument. There's a plenty of like male guitar players who are viral doing the same type of solo covers. And I'll browse through the comments and I don't see the same type of stuff with the amount of frequency that I see on my stuff. And I'm definitely not trying to sell sex in my videos. I'm selling like a very niche, unique type of skill set, trying to play the violin like Eddie Van Halen or like David Gilmour or like Jimmy Page or Alex Lifeson plays their instrument. So it's, those are the things that I deal with that I think male musicians in the same arena don't deal with as often as I do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's that gets rid of one question we had, which is what is your pet peeve? You just laid it on the line. That was great. Okay, that being said, this is a good one, I think, for you. I'm looking forward to hearing your answer to this. Who was your role model that's inspired you to be successful?
Well, I've had many role models, both people that I don't know in real life and people that I do know in real life that I've met along the way. I would say, like, the first person that I ever found growing up that made me want to play music was John Lennon. I mean, I'm a huge Beatles fan. And it wasn't just the way that he wrote songs, it wasn't just, the music or the lyrics. His cultural, importance on the era and things that he tried to influence along the way. The fact that he was a flawed human being and openly admitted that and tried to improve on himself later in life. Like so many things about him were honest, I think. Like he was just able to be honest in his interviews and in his music. The things that he wrote were very honest. And I think that short of like, okay, let's get a bunch of guys sitting down in a room, we're going to write a hit song today to sell to someone, like it's a factory, a business. John wrote things that were honest. So for me, it inspired me to want to be true to the things that I actually love, because I feel like my audience can tell if I'm trying to do something just for clicks or likes. Like I don't do much top 40 music or DJ music or stuff like that. Like if I was doing those types of covers, I think it would be disingenuous. I think people would know that I was just trying to hop on a trend. I play stuff that I'm interested in learning, that I love to listen to, and that inspires me. And I think John Lennon was like the first person that I noticed that honesty in their art. And that would be what inspired me to really get started from the very beginning.
I mean, can you imagine what it would have been like if there was social media back then? Like it as a musician, as anything, you're just opened up to trolls and to just going back to your other point, that it's a different world as being anybody in the public eye. You're just opening yourself up and there's nothing you can do. And so like having that pureness of John Lennon, where there's nothing affected, of course there's news and stuff, but really just, it's really amazing. Who else, so you actually, it looks like you have kind of a lot of the, um, some of the same backgrounds of music that I like, but you kind of lean towards a lot of the sort of the heavier stuff, classic rock. Is there anything else like way out there? And Devil Went Down to Georgia is one of the greatest songs of all time. But what else? And with that, do you like in your spare time? Do you just like noodle around with these songs and think about, hey, let me try this, maybe this, or is it just you just kind of do it?
Well, I think that I started out as a classical player and I studied classical violin. I did the all county, all state orchestras and the solo competitions, and straight through college played in symphony orchestras. So when violin is one of the most competitive instruments, and I had great experiences, like my experience at UB that really shaped me as a musician and as a human, where I had wonderful teachers and wonderful classmates. And it was just like a utopia of being 18, 19 years old and formulating my musical ideas. And then I went on to other places where I did not have that same experience, where the people tried to kill the love of music. But I would say, like, now that I'm past the school years, I've come back to classical music and I'm able to appreciate it without all of the noise around it from when you're right in the middle of studying it. And it kind of took me back to those UB years of when I was 18, 19 years old and able to appreciate it without judgment, of adding in these other types of music that I like rock music that a lot of people look down on in the classical world. But that's who I am. I mean, I love different things about both types of music. And I think that I choose the music that I learn, based on the things that I want to learn. Like, I wanted to learn how to do Eddie Van Halen style guitar things on the violin, like pinch harmonics and finger tapping. And it's something that you don't just pick up an acoustic violin and do. Like, there's a whole like, if you want to learn how to do it on guitar, you could just go on YouTube and find 100,000 tutorials of how to play Eruption on a guitar. If you go try and find how to do that on a violin, you're going to find nothing. So I had to learn from scratch, and it took like a year of trial and error, buying effects pedals, they don't work, returning them, buying this, teaching myself different techniques, learning exactly how, so many small micro things on the instrument to be able to do it. So I would say, like, classical music was my basis. And oddly enough, the guitar players I cover that lean a little more towards the classical, like Randy Rhoads, are easier for me to cover because the notes part is the easy part for me. Like, being a classical player, okay, notes are good. But when I start getting into some of this real slinky style stuff, that's the stuff that's hard to translate. For me, playing the solo from You Shook Me All Night Long by Angus Young is harder for me to play than Crazy Train because of the stylistic translation to the violin versus how close Randy Rhoads is kind of to playing classical music. So it's not always what you think it would be.
Yeah, yeah, that's something. It's got to be. I mean, the solos are all in the players. I mean, they're just notes, but the people who played them, it'll only sound like them. So you're just giving a new, fresh perspective on it with the violin, which is good. What I'm just curious too. What kind of effects are you using? Is it just? It sounds like there's the classic distortions and overdrive. What do you like to use?
So my touring board, I've tried to mock up as similar as possible to my recording rig. I don't like to record anything in the studio that I can't duplicate live, which is why Eruption took me so long. Because while I could, compress certain frequencies when I was recording and make it sound, to be able to duplicate that live and not make the sheer amount of noise from using such high compression on the patches I was using in a live setting took a long time. And my board, it's down here, but I can't take the laptop and show you. But it's a combination of digital, analog, and MIDI pedals,
Mhm.
really customized to the things I need to be able to do on stage. I guess you would say the brain of my effects is the Line 6 Helix family of effects,
Oh yeah.
stomp on this board. But there are certain things that I like better from individual pedals, such as I use the Digitech Whammy DT. For me, it is the most cleanest pitch shift that I could use. So when I'm doing those dive bombs and things like that, that's on my board. I use a Morley Bad Horsey Wah full size,
Mhm.
for a few reasons. It sounds great, but it's also auto engage. And when you're female and you're wearing like high heeled boots on stage or something, I need the full size wah so my foot's not slipping all over the place. And I don't want to click on a pedal. I just want it to auto engage and be done. And that's great. So I use that. I have an MXR talk box for when I do Peter Frampton live with the talk box. I also have a couple really niche specialty analog pedals that help me achieve like the digital delay at the end of Eruption, and like a very niche compressor to help me with that. And I use a MIDI foot switch, tied into the stomp, which allows me to move around faster live. I don't want to have to take like 3 clicks to get to something. I just want to be able to do it with 1 click. So the MIDI has helped me to achieve that. So it's a combination of a lot of things, and it's really specialized towards these specific things that we do in the touring show.
Okay, well, let's move on to another question. This might be something you can't answer. What do you do, or what do you like doing in your spare time? It sounds to me like there's no spare time.
Well, there's not a lot of spare time where I'm alone with my spare time, but I have 2 small children. I have a kindergartner and a fourth grader. So most of the time when I'm not performing, I am doing things with them, planning things at their school, going to my son is a drummer. My daughter has started piano lessons. So I'm going to their performances and dealing with their lessons and stuff. My husband is also a show producer, so I perform in some of his shows on violin, as well as obviously touring with my own show. But I do enjoy sports. I'm a huge sports fan: Bills, Sabres, Yankees. And I actually started a sports blog last season that I'll continue this season, where I commentate on the Bills games after they usually break our heart. So so I do enjoy sports. I enjoy like cooking, obviously being Italian, the Sunday sauce and the macaroni and stuff like that. And I enjoy gardening. It's not that easy to do in the desert, but I do my best for a couple months out of the year.
That's good. I'm glad you mentioned the Yankees, by the way. That was
Well, I mean, of course. So, I mean,
Oh, you're talking. I'm a embarrassed Mets fan right now. I'll say it right now. So I'm make fun of me all you want, but
well, you had a couple years, right?
we had a couple good ones.
86 and 69. So
Yep, it's like anything. It's like it's a long season.
we had 27 years.
that's
Painful.
right. Thank you very much. I'll say nothing more. That was great. Um, Here's an interesting one. If you could have achieved success in a different field or line of work, what would it have been?
Oh, that's easy. Probably either neurosurgery or astrophysics, because
Love
I
it.
was initially pre med at UB. I took the pre med tracking courses. My whole life, since I was 5, I wanted to be some sort of a brain doctor or research brain physician or a surgeon. So that was one direction I wanted to go. Also in college, when I started taking physics courses, I got real into astrophysics and universe and black hole type stuff. And I read, I keep up on all of that stuff in the journals, and I read. That's what I do when I'm like before bed. I'm not watching music documentaries usually. I want to watch that stuff. So it would definitely be in the sciences. I think that I'm like a phony creative brain person. I'm really a math science brain person, just kind of fitting that into music somehow. I'm very analytical.
Yeah, you're using both sides of your brain in your life. It looks like most people, it's their either left brain or right brain. You've got a little of both going on there.
So
A
how did
little bit
you
of
how did you make that turn then? Like, what was it? What was it?
fate, really.
Yeah.
That's how most of my career has gone. I just kind of like, you do the best you can at whatever you're doing at the time, and then stuff will come to you. Like, as long as you just focus on doing your job well. I was well, kind of triple majoring. I have an English degree from UB. I have a music degree from UB, and I was also doing the pre med tracking. I took a trip to Las Vegas during my senior year to visit cousins who lived in Las Vegas. Went to see a show on the Strip, the Shintas, who are from Buffalo originally, at the same show that I went to see, and they knew my family from the Buffalo area. So after the show, we were hanging out with them. Wayne Newton's music director was also at the show. They introduced me. Oh, she's a great violinist. You got to meet her, and you got to hear her play, and blah blah blah. And then Wayne Newton's music director was like, "We just lost one of our violinists in the show. Do you want a gig? You want to move out here and have the gig?" And I was like, okay. So at that point, I was getting ready to maybe start applying to grad schools for whatever I was going to go to grad school for. And I decided, well, why don't I move to Las Vegas for like 2 years? They do offer a master's program at UNLV for violin performance. I'll get a master's degree for that while I'm doing this fun gig, and then I'll go to medical school after that. So, so I moved to Las Vegas. I get my master's degree. I work in the show. Well, as soon as that job was done, I got offered a job in Tony Braxton's band. So I played in her band for a couple years. After that, I got offered some work with David Foster. So it was like one thing after another kept happening. And before I knew it, like a decade had gone by. And I'm like, I'm not going to medical school, am I? I'm just going to be a musician. So it was like fate, really, just fate.
Were those just traditional violin positions, like just the regular, like?
So at
Yeah.
that point, yes, I was being hired kind of as like a hired gun, like a violinist who's going to read down the notes in someone else's band and back them up. And for the first 10 years of my career, that's what I did. I accumulated a resume of playing on stage with a lot of different famous artists, doing, Latin Grammys or the music awards with them, or tour dates, or shows on the Las Vegas Strip in as a backing, violinist, sometimes as a solo violinist, like in Tony Braxton's band, I was the only violin player. But sometimes it would be like in a section of strings. And after doing that for like 10 years, I was like, I kind of want to start my own show, because I don't want the strings are always the first thing that get cut when the budgets get cut for things, like, and then they'll just put the strings on track. I'm like, I don't want like someone else's pregnancy or someone else's drug use or someone else's budgetary constraints to judge whether or not I work. So I created the Femmes of Rock show with the idea that the strings front the show. So we're never getting cut from the show because we're fronting the show. So that was kind of the whole reason why I did that. I just, I had done the backing musician thing, touring musician thing for a lot of years, and I wanted to front my own show and have it be where the strings were the actual feature of the show.
Yeah, that's there's fate, but then there's the fate got you to where you're going in your direction. But that's a great path. You got your chops and got all these. You're playing with all these great people, and you've built up your credibility. Now you just do your own thing. You're in control of it. A lot of people don't do that and will just do what you did for years and years. Studio musicians or whomever, and just they're at the mercy of the next gig, or like you said, a pregnancy or drug problem or something like that. Yeah, that's great.
One or the other, usually. Someone's pregnant or someone's on drugs again, and our gig gets canceled.
Here's an interesting question that not everybody can answer, but I know you. Nina, you'll answer it. Here we go. Is there something you have experienced or observed that would best be described by you as you can't make this stuff up?
Let me think for a minute. Well, what kind of situations? Well, I have the one funny story. There's a lot of stories, and I'm sure if I really spent some time really going back and thinking about this, there'd be so many more. But the one story that is one of the funniest stories that's ever happened to me on stage, in my first professional gig with Wayne Newton, there were other violinists in the show. There was maybe six of us in the show. And when you're female, you have to wear certain wardrobe things to like make yourself look as best as you can on stage. And one of the things that you wear sometimes, depending on the cut of dress you're wearing, is a thing that women call chicken cutlets. They fit into your bra and they kind of like cover things and like make everything go into the place that they're supposed to be in a dress. And my stand partner, in the middle of the Wayne Newton show, she reaches over to change the page, to turn the page, and the chicken cutlet falls out of her bra and flops across the stage in the middle of the show. And we were just dying. Like that was probably the funniest thing I'd ever seen on stage, only to be overtaken by Wayne Newton's Christmas show when he brought a horse out on stage and it pooped in the middle of the stage. So that maybe was the thing that overtook the flopping chicken cutlet as the funniest thing ever. But ironically, both in the Wayne Newton show.
Well, we have a feature on our show called "You Can't Make This Stuff Up." You just gave us two great ones.
That's some great material.
Hey, should we get to the big question?
Yeah, I think we're just about out of time here. I don't want to keep you too long, but we asked this to everybody, and so anxious to hear this from you. What does greatness mean to you, Nina?
Well, I think in the context of my job, it means, like I said before, doing the best you can in every aspect of what you do. And with music these days, it doesn't just mean being proficient on your instrument, it means understanding legalities, understanding copyrights. It means being able to be personable and mitigate different personalities when you get to a venue and you're dealing with a house crew that you're meeting for the first time. It means being able to deal with keeping your band happy and problems that come up while you're touring and things like that. So I think that being great just kind of means being really competent in every aspect of what you need to do in your job. And in terms of being a human, being honest and being good and just trying to help when you can. Like it's never above me to lend a helping hand when it's someone else's job in the theater. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would never want to be the kind of person. And one thing I noticed working with famous people as long as I did, even the ones that I would consider myself friends with that were really cool, there's always a gap there. There's always them and there's you. Even the ones that talk to you and look you in the eye and eat meals with you, there's always us in them. And I never, want to ever have that happen with me where people would ever feel like it's us and them, no matter what their job is, even if they're the ones that pick up the green room, I'll help pick up our crap in the green room. So I think that that is important to being able to consider yourself being great at your job is maintaining that human aspect of things as well.
I'd like to add to all of that. I've had the fortune of seeing the Femmes of Rock perform, and I'm back again on Friday to see you for the third or fourth time. First of all, the audience is always sold out, and people are barely sitting. They're mostly standing for every song. And, not to be biased here, but this group, Femmes of Rock, is great. If you have not seen them, look for them wherever they are in this country, and you will really have a great evening.
Don, I want to go with you. When is the show? What can we go together?
Why don't you come down? Yeah, it's Friday night at Dania Beach at the casino. And I know it's sold out because they're always sold out. And, get on a plane. Come on, Brian.
So
where
much
are
fun.
you based? Are you in Florida or no?
I'm just outside of New York City in Connecticut.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just down there right now. We're gonna Don's gonna come up this summer into Rhode Island, and we're gonna get together for some maybe a little dinner and cocktails and whatever. So
he and I have never met
in real life.
In real life.
Yeah.
Wow, that's the nature of how it is these days.
Isn't it crazy?
Well, Donnie, we're going to be at Art Park on July 10th. So if you're in the Buffalo area, that's our debut at Art Park.
Are you going to be in Rhode Island?
Graduated on.
Are you going to be in Rhode Island at all?
Yes, Woonsocket, Rhode Island, March maybe 14th of next year. We go once a year to Rhode Island.
I'm there in the summer.
I'll be there. That's an hour and a half for me.
Well, stay in touch for sure. We go down the coast in March. We do Maine down through like Connecticut. So
I love it. Well, Nina, thank you so much. This has just been awesome. Thank you for taking the time, and we just really appreciate you coming on the show.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. Go Bills, go Sabres, go Yankees.
Who's better than Nina? Come on.